we have a program called the Green Room, which is a program to help youth struggling with mental health. And I just wanted to know, Written by Wolves does a lot to support the mental health. So how do you help support the mental health community?
So I suppose for me, music's always kind of been like my therapy, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it was a way for me. I'm very, very blessed and very, very lucky in life that I can write a song and that I can sing, and if if I've got something I want to get out, I can go and write a song about it.
Yep.
And I can do things like that. And so that's always been a predominant approach, I think, to my songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Wolf started, and as our fan base continued to grow and started to grow, we just started getting messages all the time from people going, your music's done this to me, or your music's, in some instances, people were saying, your music saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we obviously were blown away by that and thought this is incredible, and that continued, and the more we released, the more it intensified, and the more people started to relate to what we were saying, and I suppose the stories that I was telling in the music. And it got to the point where we were so overwhelmed and so appreciative of what everyone was saying, but also kind of annoyed at the world that it was a thing, that it had to happen. And so we started writing songs specifically kind of about that.
Yeah.
And then kind of from that particular, so there's a line in this one song that was, you shouldn't need a song to save your life. The world should care enough for you to feel like you belong right here.
Yeah.
And so from that, we kind of decided, all right, we've got to do more.
Yeah.
And what can we do to do more? And so we started working with Gumboot Friday and I Am Hope. And so we re-recorded the Gumboot song into a rock song, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, all the plans that was meant to happen in March of 2020.
Yeah.
And for anyone with a short memory, March of 2020 was when the pandemic hit and we all shut down
Yep.
worldwide. So we were meant to be doing all sorts of cool stuff with that, but thankfully we'd shot the video and we got to do all this cool stuff, and they still got to raise some super important funds for that. And so the further on, we've worked super close with I Am Hope and Gumboot Friday since then, and Mike King's a good friend of mine, and we've kind of done everything we possibly can there, and we'll continue to do so, obviously. But we then kind of were like, well, how do we go further, and what do we do from here, and what do we do? And so I think during lockdowns and things like that, we came up with this crazy idea of starting our own kind of mental health initiative. And so we started the Collab Project, and the Collab Project is basically about trying to remind our friends and followers that whatever they're going through, they don't need to do it alone.
Yep.
And so our initial kind of idea around that was taking songs that we'd already written and going out to people around the world and asking them whether they would, and saying, would you like to collab on this?
Yeah.
So that we can get this message out of
cool.
of talking about things and trying to do this.
So
So, I mean, I suppose to backtrack slightly, all these songs came from our initial album called Secrets. And Secrets was essentially, I suppose, a concept album based around mental health issues, like working out how to talk about things and getting thoughts and feelings and secrets off your chest, and trying to talk about things that we don't usually talk about. So we took some of the songs from that and some of our favorite ones that we thought might sort of be important for people to hear, and we went out to people around the world, and we ended up getting incredible artists come back. So Callan Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens, who's huge, and Sonny Sandoval from POD, and Trenton Woodley from Hands Like Houses in Australia, and Sydney Ray White from The Wild Things in the UK, and so all around the world, these incredible artists were like, we're involved.
So cool.
And I've purposely left off the last one, my wife, who didn't get a chance to come back and say, no, sorry, I can't do that, because she was just told she was doing it. And I say that in the nicest possible way. It was like, and so it was this incredible project, but a huge part and probably the most important part of that particular EP was we went out to people and we put it out to people and said, look, would you consider recording your mental health story for us and sending it to us, and we'll include it on the EP.
Cool.
And so we were kind of blown away that people actually came back and said, yeah, we're in.
Yeah.
And so we kind of made a point of saying, look, you know, just tell your story. It's your story. We don't want to tell you what to do. We don't want to tell you anything. But every single one came back with this huge, you know, to talk about their mental health struggle. But they all talked about what they did to cope with it, and what they did, you know, and how, you know, how things have got better, or what they'd done to get better, and things like that. Every single one of them,
Yeah,
100% of people. And so we cut these things together. And so from that song that I talked about, the Lucky Star song with the line about not needing a song to save your life, we made this kind of, it's this like 25-minute epic. I mean, it's cut into 3 parts. And so it's our stories where people talk about, you know, what they've gone through, and then the song happens, and then Hope is the third part of the trilogy where people talk about what they've done to get through it.
Got it.
So, I mean, long story short, we you know, mental health is kind of what we've sort of, I suppose, made our thing. Like, it's kind of, it's what has been, you know, it's how I sort of operate and live, and you know, write songs about, you know, how I'm feeling. So, and you know, we're trying to do everything we possibly can to kind of, to give back that to people that don't have that ability, or, you know, that you know, that aren't as lucky to be able to sit and write a song every time they get the world's not working for them. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. The collab project is like an ongoing initiative that will continue to grow. That's what we've done so far.
That's amazing.
It's been an EP, and it's kind of like, we're quite excited to see what it does next.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want it to be this, you know, the next iteration of the collab project won't be the same thing.
And so where can people find this? And
so I mean, it's so the collab project is just, it's an EP on Spotify. It's everywhere. It's and so, you know, it's out there everywhere you find
Cool,
music.
man.
yeah, great.